Welcome back to Murder with the Missus. I'm Darren.
And I'm Amy. And today we're going to tell you about Alex Pennig.
Don't forget to smash that like button. Check out the description for the links of all of our podcast platforms, Cash App, and Buy Me a Coffee. Like, share, subscribe, and don't forget to tell your friends. As always, tell your friends because you know what? They deserve to see us too. So, don't be stingy.
Don't be stingy with us.
Come on.
There's plenty of us to go around.
Yeah. I mean, I'm a pretty big dude.
Stop it. I meant like love and entertainment.
Oh, well, I meant love too. Come on.
Okay.
How you doing?
No. Oink, oink.
Anyway, move on.
Okay. For this one, we are going to St. Paul, Minnesota. There is a trigger warning for this one because there is talk of self-harm. Safety first, as always. Alex was described as smart, vibrant, and empathetic. She had a love for caring for people and animals. She got her licensed practical nursing degree from St. Paul College and then her nursing degree from Alexandria Technical and Community College. She was living the dream. Or was she? All of this would change on December 16th of 2022 when a 911 call came in at about 2:50 a.m. It was a man, upset, and he says that there was a girl who shot herself in the head.
Boy, you're just getting right to it today, aren't you?
Oh, yeah. Getting into it.
Mm-hmm.
Every available police unit in the area responded. They were met in the lobby of the Loft at Farmers Market apartment building by the man who called 911. This was 44-year-old Matthew Philip Ecker. He takes them to a second-floor apartment. Just inside of a small studio apartment, there is a door to the right that is ajar. This is a small bathroom, and on the floor of this bathroom is Alex's body. There is blood in the bathroom. She has a single gunshot wound to the left temple, and there is a gun on the left side of her chest with her left hand resting on it, and she is already deceased. Matt is in the hallway, upset, and saying he doesn't know why she would do this. They take Matt down to the station to get his statement and let the crime scene techs work the scene. Now let's get into how we got here. Alex and Matt had met when they were both working for a walk-in clinic in 2020. Matt was a licensed nurse practitioner who was married with 4 kids. Alex's parents, Jim and Mary Jo, say that Alex described Matt to them as someone she worked with. That was it. But Matt's parents, Blaine and Terry, say that these two were having an affair. That Alex was well aware of the wife and kids. But by the summer of 2022, they had moved into friend status. So no more hanky-panky.
Sure.
Sure. They say that Matt told them that Alex was heavy on the alcohol and going from job to job because she would go on binges and not show up for work. She would get fired and have to go find something else to do. Well, no job means no money. So bills weren't getting paid. And I think part of the reason for the end of the affair in 2022 may have been because she reportedly moved to Arizona. In March, she had been charged with extreme DUI there. She failed to pay her fines for that and had her license suspended. Matt apparently flew to Arizona and rented a truck to help her move back to Minnesota and into the Loft at Farmers Market apartments in St. Paul. He was helping her with rent and bills so that she wouldn't have to tell her parents. Matt tells the detective that Alex had been seeing a man named Shane. They had an argument where Shane ended up attacking her and broke a light fixture. Since Shane had a key to her apartment, she was afraid that he would come back. So Matt packed up a suitcase and his pistol and drove almost 3 hours to get to her apartment to be there to protect her if he did. He got to the apartment at around 2 p.m. He said that he and Alex just hung out that afternoon and then that night went to some bars. He told them that there was an altercation with Shane, who they ran into at Camp Bar. Now, there is surveillance of this, and the surveillance shows Alex and Matt come in. Shane is on the opposite side of the bar already sitting down talking to a woman. You can see him in the photo of the bar, maybe. It's in the top right of our thumbnail. So the bottom left is where the front door is, so that's where they came in. Shane is at the top left, so he's literally on the complete opposite from the door. Alex goes to that same side of the bar, though, but she sits down several seats away from Shane to the right. Shane walks over to her, and she's still sitting, but he's standing up. There's no audio that we can hear, so we don't even know what they said to each other.
I'm in his top right.
Top right. The picture's in the top right. Sorry, my bad.
Yeah, okay. So I'm guessing it wasn't a friendly conversation?
Yeah, it probably wasn't, since they had just had a physical altercation, and she was saying that she was afraid of him, so. But now you see Matt walk up, and I'm assuming that he tries to introduce himself because he holds out his right hand, waiting for a shake, but he doesn't get it.
He's like, get out of here.
Yeah, he just literally holds it out, and Shane just doesn't even try.
Oh, yeah.
Shane is probably pissed, because his girlfriend is now here walking into a bar with a man. Words are said. Alex stands up, and Matt moves in between Alex and Shane. So Shane hauls off and punches Matt. And all three of them go to the ground. Now, two guys a couple of chairs down jump in and separate everybody. And since Shane threw the first punch, he's the one that gets kicked out of the bar. So Alex and Matt stay there for another hour or so and drink. It's about 10. Nope. Yeah. So it's about 10:24 a.m. the next day, or when they find Alex's body, that they have body cam footage of where the police go to talk to Shane. Now they have to tell him that Alex is deceased, and he is very visibly upset. Shane says that he and Alex have been seeing each other for around 4 months. She was sweet and fun, everything you would want in a woman. They spent almost every day together. They lounge around with their 2 cats most of the time. Now, he was a dog person before her, but she made him a cat person.
Cats are a whole different situation.
Yes, cats are sassy.
Yep. We got one.
Mm-hmm.
He's an ass.
Yeah. Yeah, he's a dick.
He's fluffy.
Yeah, and he has moments of niceness.
Soft, but he's a dick.
He has a problem. But
anyway.
Shane does admit to having an argument with Alex the day before, but he says it was because they had talked about moving in together previously, and she wanted to know what was taking him so long to move in. They asked him if the fight got physical, and he said, no, God, no. So they asked him about some punch marks that they found in the closet door in Alex's apartment that were right across from the bathroom door. He says that those were from a couple of weeks ago when he was drunk. They argued like a married couple, but nothing crazy and nothing violent.
It sounds like he's got a temper.
I mean, he's punching holes in doors.
Yeah. I mean, nothing violent, though.
Yeah. Except that.
Nothing a little plaster won't fix.
Sure.
A little sheetrock work.
Maybe some anger management is in order there. But anyways, back at the crime scene, let's talk about Matt's story. He says that after they left Camp Bar, they went back to her apartment, which is about half a mile away. There was a vestibule that has surveillance, and then the lobby of the apartment building also has surveillance. So we can see that they get back to the apartment building at 2:04 a.m. and go up to the apartment. Then, 20 minutes later, you see them both go out the front door of the building again. Matt says that he was getting his headphones from the car. Alex walks back into the vestibule to wait because it's pretty cold outside. So she's kind of pacing in place. She crosses her arms, and then she eventually just sits down on the floor. When Matt comes back in, she goes through the door to the lobby, but she doesn't try to hold the door open for him or even push it out a little for him, even though she knows he's coming in right behind her. So she goes through the door and just keeps walking to the elevator. And Matt had grabbed the door to go through it once they got into the lobby, and you can see him shrug his shoulders and hold his arms up like, what the fuck?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like, what the hell did I do?
Right. Like, what's your problem?
Besides getting a tussle?
Yeah, but they'd already been in the apartment for 20 minutes at this point.
Oh.
So, I don't know. Maybe, why are you being rude?
Maybe you turned her down.
Maybe. Detectives say that this is huge. This is the last time that she is seen alive. And it looked to them like her and Matt were in some kind of a disagreement. But she had been on her phone at one point while she was in that vestibule pacing around. So they're thinking that maybe there was something on her phone that could have irritated her. And just know that they went back up to the apartment at about 2:28. So it's roughly 20 minutes before Matt's then calling 911. So not very long at all. Friends and family would say that in that surveillance of them in the lobby, that she looks mad because when she walks across that lobby, she is stomping. And they said that's what she did when she was mad. She'd stomp, 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 stomp.
Stomp, 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 stomp.
Well, she's kind of little and she had on those boots. So it's kind of cute when mad people walk and they have on like cute stuff. It's just funny to me. Matt says that they get back to the apartment and at some point she just grabbed his gun. Why it was out? I don't know. But she takes it, puts it to her left temple, and then backs into the bathroom. She shut and locked the door. Now he was trying to get in, but he hears a gunshot. He busts the door with his shoulder and tried to put pressure on the wound because remember, he's a licensed practical nurse. Since he's realizing she needs help, right? So he washes his hands and then calls 911. He tells them that she had been shot about 4 minutes before he called. So before we start breaking this down any further, let's take a second to hear from today's sponsor.
Give us just one moment. Uno momento.
Poor favor. Do you or someone you know live in an apartment community? Are you balling on a budget? Make your money work for you.
Some apartments don't even offer a washer and dryer included in the lease. If you want that live, you need to contact My Laundry Solutions.
They service areas in Oklahoma, Missouri, and Texas. Their newest location is in Fort Worth, with more locations opening in Texas in 2025 and 2026. Check the website for locations near you. There's no credit check. Every contract includes free local service. They professionally install, and your account is available 24/7 online. Go to your leasing office, go to mylaundrysolutions.com, or call 800-535-4411.
Stop wasting your hard-earned money at the laundromat and give My Laundry Solutions a call today. Go and check them out.
Today.
Or tomorrow.
Anytime, really. It's 24/7 online.
Yeah, but go check them out. What do you got to lose?
What do you have to lose? Good deals? You don't want to miss that.
Yeah.
Okay, so in our case, Matt has tried to render aid, washed his hands, and called 911. He told them at the scene when the cops got there that he washed his hands. So they look in the sink right away.
So, I mean, did he wash his hands because, all the blood, he couldn't open his phone?
Sure.
I mean, that's the only thing I can think of.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, go ahead.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
Okay. There was no blood in the sink. No blood on the handle where he would have had to touch it, with his bloody hand to turn the water on. And the sink itself was dry. But even at the station later, when they asked him about all that, he stands firm that he washed his hands in that bathroom sink. Now, another issue was the gun. Alex's dad, Jim, said that Alex never liked guns. She had never shot a gun. She didn't know how to handle guns. But in Matt's version of events, she picked it up, pulled the slide back to cock it, and then held it to her head.
Oh.
So the cops questioned how she would know that she'd have to do that if she didn't know anything about guns. And Matt says that he never carried his gun with one in the chamber, and he had a permit to carry that. So that wasn't an issue here. But that question still remained. He didn't answer it. Like, I don't know, but I never had one in the chamber. So she wouldn't have been able to shoot it any other way. And when the shot went off, actually, let's talk about that the gun was on her chest with her hand on it. If you are standing and you shoot, you're not going to fall with the gun landing on top of you and then your hand on top of the gun. That's not typical.
No.
Yeah. So when you shoot or when the shot went off, her body would have relaxed. Her hand would have went down with gravity. So it's really, really weird to land like that. But Matt is adamant that he did not move that gun. Plus, remember, he rendered aid. Nothing fell? Nothing moved? What kind of aid are you rendering? Anyways, either way, the detectives are telling him that his story is not adding up. Like, they immediately are like, no, buddy, that's not how this works. So they're like, hang on, you sit tight right here. We're going to go check on something. And you just sit here and think through your story and see if there's anything you might be missing.
So these cops are paying attention right from the start.
Right from the start.
That's good.
Yeah. And I haven't got into all of it yet, but there is a lot right from the jump that made them suspicious. We've talked about a lot of it. So they treat this like a homicide immediately, right off the bat.
Yeah.
Now, before the detectives came back into the room, he sent for them. He went to the door and was like, I need them to come back in here. Now he says that he did pick that gun up, that he put it in his suitcase. And then he went back to her saying, well, that's not going to work. So he goes back to the suitcase, gets the gun, puts it back on her, and then puts her hand on the gun. So he's the one who did that. And he said he only did that because he was scared. Of what? He also left out the fact that she was right-handed. Now remember, the gun is on the left side of her chest. Her hand is it's her left hand, and her entry wound is the left side, but she's right-handed.
Okay.
And he admitted to the police that he knew she was right-handed. So it's obvious he moved the gun. He also says that it didn't make any sense to him either, but that the bullet hole was definitely her doing. He moved the gun, but he didn't shoot her, so that was on her. The crime scene unit was processing the scene while he was being interviewed by the detectives, and so they called the detectives because when they moved her body underneath her head, they found a round piece of metal. Now, this is what you would see in the bottom left of the case pick. This is the latch collar from the door. It's the little round piece where your latch bolt is, and that piece was missing from the bathroom door. You can see it. The door's next to it, right? In order to get that under her, then that door would have had to been busted through before she was shot.
Yeah.
Right?
So he didn't bust through the door after it was done.
Right. There's no way. There's no way. They're saying he couldn't have. So now the working theory is that she ran into the bathroom and locked the door trying to get away from Matt.
Yeah.
Then he busted through the door, causing the latch collar to fly over and hit the floor. Then he shot her, causing her to fall on top of it. Another thing that leads to the theory is that the bathroom door was between her legs. So that's why I wanted that other picture. Right under where it says the Alex Pennig case, you can see a diagram of how she was laying in the bathroom. If she was already on the floor when he opened the door.
So it was open and one leg was on one side of the door, the other leg was on the other side.
Right.
Gotcha.
Because if he would have opened that door, it would have swept both legs behind it.
You're right.
Not just her right leg. Because look how tiny that bathroom is.
Very correct.
So when the door is open, as you can see, it opens up to around her mid-thigh. It's not far enough into the bathroom that it would have just like grazed her foot maybe and caused it to go back. There's just no way to get around it. This is enough for them to arrest Matt for second-degree murder.
Good.
Yes. Now, we do need to talk about her substance abuse here, too. Her parents do talk about her being depressed in college, and she started an addiction to prescription pills. In 2016, she went up to her room and took a handful of those pills. She told her mom and then quickly made herself throw them up. Her parents saw this as a cry for help and got her into recovery, and she actually chose nursing to go into because of the nurses who had helped her through that ordeal. She was chosen to speak at one of her graduations, and she talked about her experiences and how much she wanted to help people like herself. When the police were now processing her apartment, They found alcohol and 6 bottles of prescription pills, including Valium and Prozac. They were all prescribed to Alex, and they had all been prescribed to her by Matt. So you can see that in the bottom right of the case pick, his name all over her pill bottles. This was something he did not mention to the police.
Well, I mean, that's kind of convenient.
Isn't it though? Now, because it's technically not illegal for him to prescribe her medication, it is unethical for you to prescribe meds to your friends like that. They found text messages on his phone from Alex 3 days before her death saying, "I shut myself out to the world. I need a mental health break. I'm not very hopeful at the moment about life." Which, taking a mental health break does not mean that you're contemplating hurting yourself. And also, days before her death, she texted him, "I need you to send in my immediate release Adderall script. Make sure I have refills for my trazodone and metoprolol too, please." So even if the cops didn't read the prescription bottles to see that his name was on them as the provider, the texts would have told them that. His parents say that these were all medications that her doctor had prescribed to her, and Matt was just being a friend and refilling them for her. That she would badger him to do it. When they did the autopsy, they showed that she had 3 times the legal limit of alcohol in her system, but she also had 4 of those prescription meds in her system as well. I will also say that his hands were negative for gunshot residue, which we would expect because he already told them he washed his hands. Alex did have gunshot residue on her left hand, and her DNA was on the gun.
I mean, was his?
No. His DNA was not on the gun.
Okay.
His lawyer would say that that's just because you touch something, it doesn't mean you leave DNA on it. But it was his gun. He even put it in the suitcase and brought it back and laid it on her body at the scene.
Yeah.
So he touched it at least 4 times that day, including...
He wiped it.
Exactly. And then put her hand on it,
yeah.
right?
Yep.
Because he would have had to pack it and unpack it and then take it. I mean, it's just, he had touched it too many times. So belief is that, like you said, he wiped it off, then put it on her hand and laid it on her body. They had 2 autopsies on her, and both of the manners of death were listed as undetermined.
Mm-hmm.
So it says that if 2 doctors can't determine the cause of death, neither can you. That's what his attorney was saying. Like, if they can't tell you, you can't say it either. They're doctors. They do go to trial in February of 2024. And his defense attorney says he had no residue on him. He didn't have any blood splatter on him. And he was right on that. Prosecutors would offer up a scenario where he broke into the door. She was pushing back to keep it closed, and he reached around the door and shot her. Therefore, blood spatter would not get on him.
But it'd be on the door.
But it would be on the door, which it was because that's where the shooting took place. For the piece of the lock mechanism.
But if he smacked the door open before and shot, and then the blood splatter would be on the front of the door. If it was one of them cases where he reached around, it would be on the back of the door.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's what they're saying. That's how he did it. So if she would have shot herself with the door closed, it would have been there. If he reached around and shot her, it would have been there. So either way, it's there.
It's on the back of the door.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Now that lock mechanism, they said in order for that to be under her, the defense said that it happened when he was moving her, when he was trying to stop the bleeding. That it had landed on her, actually, or around her, and then it had moved under her when he was moving. Okay.
Okay, so how does he explain her legs being on the other side of the door?
I don't remember. Let's see if I noted that. They used the text messages, the alcohol use, the substance abuse to show that she was struggling. She was probably texting Shane in that vestibule, and that's why she was mad going back into the apartment. Not at Matt, but at Shane. And I know what you're wondering.
Did her phone records show that she was texting Shane?
I knew you would wonder that. They do not. And I'll tell you why. No one knows her passcode, so they can't get into her phone.
Who can't?
Anybody, apparently.
Well, whatever. They can hire to have it unlocked.
You would think so.
No, you can. I know so. They take people's phones all the damn time.
Well, one thing I've learned in some recent trials I've been watching is that if you have a 4-digit passcode, they can unlock it pretty quick. But if you have a 6-digit passcode, it will take years for them to be able to find the right code and unlock it.
Yeah.
So at the time, they could not. So why don't you check Shane's phone?
Yeah.
Right? Well, they would have, but he said he lost his that night. So
of course.
He doesn't even know if she was trying to get a hold of him. He wouldn't know either way. So why couldn't they subpoena her phone records, right? Like what number she texted, or if she texted anybody, who knows? They didn't talk about that. So
how they can subpoena the freaking text records.
This is what I'm saying.
Like the whole messages.
100%. But they've never talked about that. So it remains a mystery.
So it's like they started off so good.
I know.
And then it's like fucking.
Blah, blah, blah.
Yep. Downhill.
There's multiple theories for Matt's motive. The pill bottles in the apartment were dated in November, and this happened in December. So maybe he said he wasn't going to refill them again, or maybe she threatened to report him. Maybe she threatened to tell his wife about the affair, or maybe he was tired of giving her money. Like there's so many different motives they could go through.
Yeah.
Her dad said that they wanted to believe that he was responsible for her death, but believing it and proving it are two different things. But
True.
The jury deliberated, yeah, very true. But the jury deliberated for 9 hours before finding him guilty of second-degree murder. He had sentencing 2 months later on April 3rd of 2024. Alex's friends, Sarah and Jillian, spoke. Jillian often talks about her and Alex playing hockey together when they were younger. Alex's parents asked the judge for a harsh sentence, saying the world lost a special soul and we lost our baby. Ugh.
That's sad.
Ugh, it's horrifying. Matt's family spoke on his behalf too about how compassionate and caring of a person he is. But then the judge sentenced him to 30 years in prison. Matt's wife did divorce him and got sole custody of the kids.
Of course. I mean,
yeah.
Well, who else is going to get custody of them?
Right. Well, I mean, his family can still have grandparents' rights in some states. I didn't look to see if Minnesota's one of them.
Well, I'm sure she's not going to try to keep them away from the grandparents.
People have done weird things.
Yeah, but, I mean, come on.
Because they're supporting him, so she might be like, I don't want that negativity in their lives.
Yeah.
You never know. Never mind, I lied. Matt's family has no contact with him. It was literally my next note. That's my bad. So yeah, maybe they do.
See, they're gonna comment and be like, "Oh man, I'm finding all kinds of stuff you're messing up on."
You lied, but then because they didn't go to the next sentence, yeah. Matt is appealing his conviction. Alex's parents live close to the cemetery where Alex is buried, and they have a little bench at the foot of her grave where they sit and visit with her. That's so sad. Her parents say that a baby rooster had been dumped out and wandered into their yard, and they figured that this was Alex's doing. So they took that rooster and they built a coop, naming it Alex's Coop. And now they have 12 chickens. Because when you get one, you just got to have more. Yeah. We've been there. Jillian and Sarah get together with her parents like as often as once a month to visit and reminisce about Alex and how fun she was. And that's all on this case. You got any final thoughts?
No, it was kind of weird because I think if anything, it was he busted in the door, knocking her down.
Okay.
And then he did it.
But then how come he didn't have any blood on him? And why was there blood on the door?
Because he was probably far enough away. He probably just did it at a distance.
That's true.
You know, did she have gunpowder on her temple?
They just said it was on her hand. They didn't say if it was on her head or if she had any stippling.
So,
yeah,
if he knocked her out and then put the gun in her hand and did it,
true,
that would put the powder on her hand. So, I mean, there's all different ways, but I mean, it's just the fact that the door is in between her legs open, is
damning evidence.
Yeah, it's different. And then the fact that the little key latch,
the
latch ring is underneath her. That right there it's like it's not that she did it. You know, it was done.
Right.
So I think they started off strong with this case, and then kind of, I guess, lost interest.
Well, they had what they needed apparently because he got a conviction.
Yeah, I mean, he got a conviction. They got a conviction and everything, but I mean, I think they could have went a little bit further.
Yeah.
With it, and I mean, he could have, instead of the 30. I mean, he got a long time, but I think he could have got a bigger sentence.
Well, I think that's the mandatory in Minnesota for second degree. Yeah, this was second degree.
But I mean, he probably would have got different charges if they could have proved it.
That is true. Yeah, they could have got him for first because it only takes a second to have premeditation.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, but anyway, that's my thoughts.
Sweet. If you like our content, please be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Hit the notification bell so you get a notification whenever a new episode drops or if we go live. If you have any case suggestions or just want to say hi, you can email us at danda.truecrime@gmail.com.
And as always, don't forget to tell your friends because you know what? They deserve to see us too, because like I always said. But and if you guys ever want to just help out or contribute or whatever, anything like that, we don't always ask for it because we really don't expect it. But I'll throw up our little Cash App and our Buy Me a Coffee. Until then, see you guys next time.
Bye.